Okay, so let's start our class today. Today we will talk about more details about the MongoDB. As what our previous lab, we cover how do we build our API server, then how can we connect our API server, what we using the Happy.js to like serve those requests. And then when we get those requests, here's the one layer, and then the second layer is how can we retrieve our data. So we can use either like regular RDMS relational database or NoSQL. So in our class, we are teaching using a MongoDB. For MongoDB as an example on NoSQL, so we know it's a document-oriented NoSQL database. So it's mainly is for scalability and flexibility. Also, there's one for the format we call the JSON-like documents. Also we call the BJSON. So it's called a binary JSON. So to store the data, make it easier to work with the complex data structure. So you will see more when you're like in practical, try to insert different data type and then even document inside, then we can still able to do that. So also the schema have a higher flexibility. So it can support some like dynamic schemas, allow for storage and different type of data within same collection. So that's why we can do. So mainly how we use the NoSQL for us store the data, we just like insert the whole row of it or just one record, including everything. Just like based on what we need, we try to search it, like find it. Okay, so that's what we know. So mainly for the MongoDB is called the horizontal scaling. So through the like sharing the like allows the distribution of data across multiple servers. Okay, for the scalability, when we say horizontal, that means like we can duplicate multiple. So it's like same in the row. And if we say like sometimes say vertical, that means like in the hardware layer, like we increase the performance. So there's a difference between the scalability. So when you hear what is the horizontal, that means that it's possible to duplicate the product like running in the same time. And then high availability. So replicators said like ensure the data redundancies and also automatic failover. So this, and then one thing we use here the term we call the like rich queries. So we can support variety of like query. So types that allow for indexing to optimize performance. So you'll see because when you learn versional database. So when you create the table, you have the primary key, you have foreign key. Also, we have called indexing. So we can create the index like help us to increase the searching speed. Okay. For increasing the performance. Then how about MongoDB? Can we do something to enhance the speed? Yes, we can. Also here we'll cover about it. Okay. So we have also have aggregation like framework. So we have like powerful tool for the data aggregation, also like transformation. Here's like slightly more details about the MongoDB what we using, and based on the MongoDB, what we are using the architecture, we have the called the documents and collections. If you still remember, we are using the database, so we using a keyword so we can switch it using the use and then that keyword, and later we will create a collection. So and then give a name to that collection. So all those data we store in the documents. So we sometimes we call it documents, same as the tables. Because for the terms we use a lot, sometimes we say the entirety, maybe the tables that we apply for the RD. But if we talk about MongoDB, sometimes we say about the records, we talk about the documents. So everything refer to those like the collections, like they are grouping together. So they are grouped in the collection. So it's same as kind of a similar idea to the tables in the relational database. So okay, like RD. As well as what is the BSON? The one is it's called a binary JSON format. So it can support the data type, just like array, even embedded documents. Here's the huge differences with compared to our RD. The RD, we have to really decide, okay, for attribute, we do the like first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form, and then try to remove the redundancy. But for the NoSQL, the whole structure is not the same. We just like based on our system structure or like the data format, then we can just like put everything like inside. So even if it's required, I can put the whole array into the attribute, like one of it, and also I can embed a document to the one of the row. There's a reason like why maybe nowadays more application, or sometimes we say the mobile application use MongoDB applied. And also MongoDB server can like contain multiple database, and each with its own collection. So so we are not only connecting one database, so we can create as many as what you want. And most important, because I gave you some sample code, but I didn't really cover. Okay, so how actually you say code the CRUD. So actually, it's a short term of four main operation that we provide by the MongoDB. As what as usual we do, we just connect to the MongoDB like Mongo shell, and depends on the command we're using, and then we can create a new database. Let's say we use the use, and then create a collection. So this is like what we cover before in the lecture. And I just like quickly show you, okay, because we need to do testing, also we need to have some like demonstration. So I just tell you, okay, how can we create those data? And then the next one is telling you how can we create the information, like create the data insert into the document. That means your collection. If you remember, we used the called the insert one. So we are inserting one record by one time. So the comment will be db dot your collection name, depends on the collection you created. And then you just insert one record. And based on this one, you can define your own required data value. So give it attribute name. So we give a name and then with the value. Okay. So if you need to attach a document, yes, you can attach. But for regular inserting, then it's just the name. And let's say if I have multiple, I have more than one, then how can I do it within one time? So we have one function called insert many. So insert many is like supporting the user developer to insert multiple documents. So the format is exactly the same. What do we need to do? Just change the function name from insert one to many. So it's pretty easy to understand. And this time we change that because as a many insertion, so we need to add an array. So right here, you will see we put a square bracket right here to showing, okay, everything right here is inside, so it's an array. So it's the kind of same idea. So if you need to remember, okay, if I mess up, then remember just like how you iterate the array. So we will handle one by one. So it's a JSON format array. So there's all the objects. Sometimes we declare the object inside right here and then put the name. Okay. So this, the first one, we say the C, what we say is create. And then the next one we use a lot is read. So because we always need to search the data and find it. So the one is like if I don't put any criteria like parameter, so we will find all the documents. So it's kind of same as like come as I select start from the table. So we don't put any condition and just retrieve all the data. And if we have to really search, then we need to pass the parameter. So right here, the function. So just like same db my collection and find. Let's say I need to search the age. Age. So here's the name of your attribute, and then what you need to do. You will see a special character right here, GT. I will show you on also have a detailed explanation about what's the GT. Actually, it's just a short form of the greater, and then it's 30. So it's the same logic as like where condition where age greater than 30, like this. Then we try to find the record. Okay, if you need to match exactly the same, then you can just put the exactly value, then it's okay. And here you will going to use a lot for your project if you, because for our API server, we are not only like retrieving state read. Sometimes we need to create a new record, but most of the time we need to update the original value. Then how can we update the original record or the data in our document? So we have one is called the same idea. We have called update one. So we are updating one value. So update one, and when we try to update the name, it's equals to this one, and then here's mainly when we equals to the name, and then what we're going to do is set. So we need to set the value. What's the value? Is age equals to 31. So when we match, and then we will update the value to 31. Then how about we have many, so it's the same idea. So the logic is the same. So we put the update many, and then we just like setting, okay, if I want to set all the age and then like 32, less than that, and then less than 32, then all of them, I will set it, the status will change to young, like this. So then it will update all the record. So you need to be careful when you have an operation where you need to handle all the data. You need to be careful, like, are you just like update the first match one, or are you going to update everything? Here's the same idea. The logic is same when you try to update your data from the RD version of database. Let's say you are using MySQL. So if you are putting the, let's say, if you only update the value where condition name equals to John, then you only update the record equals John or like by the ID. If you want to update all the status, let's say you have an attribute name is called status, and you want to change like all the age if they are below 30, then you want to change the status to young, then you are going to like change the whole document or like the tables to young. Then you need to use update man. Try to not mix up and be careful of your data structure. So like let's say it depends on situation, then you need to choose the correct one. Okay, and later this one because we have the D is delete but we actually here's the really clear concept is we barely delete the data, even though they are not using anymore, but all the data say we can like trace back or maybe for analysis later. So even though in the concept we will have a delete, but we are not actually delete. Maybe we will add any special attribute name, or let's say it's valid, unvalid, or like it's available. So we will check, make sure the data is like pretending they're deleted, but actually we never delete the data. So in practical way. But for studying, when they provide the option, actually, if we need to delete it, then how can we do that? So we can have a delete one. It's the same. So just put your DB, your collection name, and then put the delete one, and then put the match criteria or multiple. Then it's the same. So if we want to delete all the records, the data like they are less than 30, then put the age less than, so you can pass a parameter like this. And here's the main for operations. So it's like read, we create, read, update, and delete. So here's the four core option. Let's say we have a more advanced like querying. The operator you will see like EQ, NE, GT, LT, IM. You maybe have a question about this, and actually we have table sometimes when we match. So right here. Actually, the MongoDB, even though right now I give you the example, actually, the MongoDB give you all those details explanation and all those like the advanced like query operator. So you see the more details right here. Let's say if I want to match the value like exactly equal to that one, we can use the EQ. So it's meaning is equals and then GT that's like greater than the specific value. Then how about we say greater than or equal? So we just add the E behind it. Okay. And then how about in is the same idea we are using. So do we have a value like really contain inside the array? Then it's in LT then is like is a less than or LT less than or equal to. So it will be same as the symbol we are using. Let me open it. So if we are using the let's say greater than, so we are using GT. So if we are greater than or equal, then we have GTE. So it represents the same like this we are for our database query. And then we have the any, so it's not equal, and then not int. So they are not like if we're checking they're not in the array. Okay. So here's a good practice because you may sometimes I give you the terms, maybe you don't know how to use it, or you may not use it, or you need to use it. So it depends on the situation, but sometimes like I'm telling you, okay, there's something or where can we find it, then you can refer to the document. So let's say we are using MongoDB, then we always refer to the document and then okay, I want to check the operator. So what are the operators you can use, and then you can kick into the detailed example. So we have the field or that is the attributes, and then we put the equals, and then what's the value or something like greater than. You can do it in this way, and you always have an example to showing, okay, if I want to match it with the greater than, then you can see it will showing, okay, the quality, they are greater than 20, then they should be returned like 1 and 2 to records. And then how can we update? Let's say if I put a condition like greater than 2, then I update the price is 9.99. Then you will see all those like if greater than 2 will update to the 9.99 will be like this. So the carrier fee. So here's the format you can use in case if you need to use for your project or doing for assignment, then you can refer to the document like looking for the details. If you need to use sometimes like we have more than that actually for query, like we have and not like more logics. The format is like looking pretty similar. Let's say I need to match several together. Let's say I'm using an and, then I have a array right here, and then the first one x is not equals to 0, and then others, yeah. So would be right here. You can check all those like we call the expression or condition. So you can like match it. So you can refer to all these documents you see. And then we have one is pretty common. We need to use a lot is the sorting. When we're doing sorting, sometimes when we need to return a value, then we need to sort the value based on certain criteria. Let's say I want to find the collection, and then this one you can either like put a collection name, or just like when you switch your collection, then you can just put your collection name. So either one is fine. And we're using a find function, so we try to get everything, and we call the function dot sort. So sort, and then based on the criteria is the age. So 1 is just like standing, and then if we you have one more, it's called a projection. So projection is we try to limit the field going to the field, that means the one the attribute name you declare. So when we try to find everything, we don't have a limitation, and then we put the projection. So projection here based on the name, and then one is like where representing true is showing the name. Let me show you right here. So you will see the query and projection. Okay. So let's say we have the n or like element match or method. So we stay with the first one. So when we try to select like find something, and then when we put the one right here, or let's say here, and then or like find, and then put the comma right here, star slice. Then we will try to like everything, put the one slice one. Then it will show up with the content. This one it comes out with the ID, and then we have the semester, and then the grade, and right here grade start. Then you see. So once we put the grade is equals to 1, so it only true for the grade. And because this one is the when we do the find, then we will try to check the value is like greater than 85 and match semester 1. So here is the example, one of the I call the complex searching criteria, because you may not need to get all the fields or like the attributes. So if you only need people say maybe when we implement, why don't I return everything like from the server return it? Yes, you can do that, but you will increase the package size, your like return data type. If you are not really required to use those data, but you return it, also it creates a risk. So here's the security issue. Let's say if you are trying to log in to a user profile, if you don't limit your return value, you will return everything. So everything maybe you store the username, email, phone address, everything. But actually for certain content, you just need to use the username. Then you will expose all these data. So if I have some like middleman or like try to steal the information, or like I able to get your API URL link, then I just like pretend, okay, I able to get your session ID, send it to your server, and then I can retrieve your data. If you don't limit or like certain information, that I can get all the user profile, and then I can hack into that user account. So we need to decide, especially when we design the API server, it's really important that based on, okay, if that one, I just need to look at my profile username and maybe the icon, like load it from the server, then I only return these two. Now, how can you do that? So you need to use the projection. So that's what you need to think about when you design the API server. And here's a more going, for example, let's say you're using find and an in, so within the range. So there's one more. And talk about the sorting. So sorting, the one is like doing ascending. If you want to do it descending, just like put -1, then it will sorting in the descending order. And when we want to specific field, then you can doing like this, like putting 1, that means showing yes, I want to only return 2 range. And if you have question like what kind of field should I return, I have no idea. Actually, because you are the one who working on API, let's say if we are working in a company, maybe the team working on a database and the API, you are not the same team, or they pass the data. So if you are working for the company, like working for the database design and then passing a value, you need to have a good document. So what is this document or the collection contain? What's the structure? And then based on our system design, and then for our certain API, what kind of data we need to return, and we need to define all these queries, okay? And one more example, we mentioned about the aggregation framework. So when we use the aggregation framework, so that's like for the proposing. So let's say if we have collection, and then we can use the Q aggregate, and we put the passing array, and then let's say we try to match it. The age is like greater than 25, and then we will group it by the one. We group it either using their age, and then count sum equals to 1. So then that's how it's doing the aggregation. So it's pretty similar to the our database. Like if you learn the database, it will teach you. Okay, so matching, so is equals, and group is like group by. So group by, you can group with any attributes or the columns you're using. So with the column, then you can assign a name. So this one we use it for the age as ID, and then for the count, so we put the count using select and then add them together. So like what's the sum? So that's how it works. For the details, you may look at it if you're interested. If you have any question, then we can discuss this more. But I would like to let you to experience like how can look at the document. So always I refer to the document and then see how to use it. Structure is not complicated, like syntax not complicated, but you need to understand how it works. And as well, I mentioned one thing is about the indexing. So it's the same for our traditional like relational database. We have indexing, and then for MongoDB, NoSQL, we do have an index, so we can create. So also we have like called a compound index, so we can use like a multiple field to optimize the complex query. So also we have the text index, so full text searching capabilities. Then how can we do that? We just like using a function. So for our collection, put the name, and then you can just like using create index. So which one do you want to create the index? Maybe the age. So they will do an ascending index, so you can search. And then when you want to check it, then you can use the function called get index. So you know what the index you create. Okay. And one more thing, we have called the data modeling. So we have called the embed documents. So we can try to like have a nesting documents to represent related data. So here's the design or purposely why the NoSQL we are using. Okay, and then we have references. So we will link the document using object ID for normalize the data model too. So we can do it. Let's say right here, we need to embed our documents. We need to store those like data related for better performance. Right? Let's say we will insert one with the name and then street, and then we will use the after we insert it, we will get the object ID or the ID. So that when we turn it, then we will refer to another document. So let's say I have a user and then I have others, then we insert. So we will put the user ID and then put it. Depends on the structure. This one, maybe you can put the ID or without it. Then depends on the which library or the package we are using, and then we can refer and then add it to the item. So you will see this one pretty similar idea with our like primary key, foreign key, but we will use it with the user ID. Okay, right here. So far here will be the kind of like basic structure of the MongoDB, and then we need to know for the authentication. So we will support various like authentication mechanism, let's say the Scrum, LDAP, or authorization. So kind of like role-based access control to define permission that we can do, or like we can do some like encryption to protect our data for like adverse and transit. That's what we can try to apply. And then if we need to improve the performance, then we can try to like add the like connection pooling, so it can have a more efficient management of the database connection, and also like caching. It can helping like to leverage it in memory data storage. So if we have some like frequent access data, then we can put into like cache to increase the access speed, and also like we have a profiling to like enhance like query performance, optimize the slow queries. It may be happen when we combine with the aggregate. So if you know the aggregation, so it's pretty similar to you join the tables for the using the MySQL. When you're joining multiple tables, sometimes you are joining 3 tables together, maybe 4 tables together, or you need to like select some certain value, create a view, and then generate the version. So how can we increase the performance? Then we need to check it. And then the next one is about the how can we monitor and manage our database? So we have the MongoDB like Elders. So it's a cloud service holding managed MongoDB database. So it's just an example. You may not need it, or depends on like in the future, if you are working for certain some company, they may be asked you using some of it. So depends on. So it's important is that you need to know or learning how to like, if you have a basic understanding of the database, and you can switch like based on the needs, and you need to refer to the documents and checking how can we check it. So let's say if you need to do some query, then refer to it, and then looking for the examples, how can we use or apply those knowledge or the methods to a new items. And then we have some like monitoring tools, so we can like they always have a built-in net performance monitoring and then alerts. And also we can do like automated backup operations that we can do. And as we mentioned, like we're using the MongoDB. Sometimes we can use for the like CMS, the content management system, or we will do the real-time analysis, and also the IoT applications. Nowadays, lots of IoTs, Internet of Things, where maybe it's like small devices. We will generate a huge amount of data, but we are not really required to be like well organized. We do not require the relation. So for increasing access speed, then we will using the NoSQL for the IoT application, or nowadays for the mobile or web application, we are using NoSQL too. It's like changing and shifting from the traditional. It's like we are fading out. No, we are still using the relational database, but really depends on your system design. So we cannot say, okay, we must use it, but really maybe depends on our project or like which type of data you are handling. And you can choose to apply either RD or NoSQL to your project. So far it's really powerful NoSQL database. We are using example. So it's provide flexibility and scalability and ease of use. So you need to like understand and all the features. Actually, it's really have a lot. But for our class, because we need to cover like some computing, it's part of it about the data storage and data storage, and is one of the example. It's like popular and nowadays. So we are going to cover right here, and you just need to learn how to efficiently handle the data. And right here, I will, if you have no other questions, then I would like to show you the example. So as a left hand, I will upload this one, and then I will see. Okay, in practical, when I give you the sample code, I always like put the stuff, put the codes like together. And for this time, I would like to let you know, actually, for the practice, I will always break down the structure like into two files. If you remember, I telling you like for the project one, then I will try to maybe I will try to have a different structure, different files, and also for the query too. So right here, I give you one more new package. It's called a Mongoose. So Mongoose is another so you can look at it here. So Mongoose is another node package. If you remember, we are using the MongoDB as a package, and this one is called the Mongoose. So it also is one of the package is like really popular we are using. It's called the ODM, Object Data Modeling Library from MongoDB. And also it provides different functions. So we always need to check the document, which one are we using. So sometimes it only supported by the Mongoose, but it's not supported by the MongoDB. So like depends on which one are you using. Okay. And for the reasons we are using Mongoose mainly is the semi-rigid schema from the beginning. So you can just like define the schema or the model. So here's the schema we can define. And so far from the schema is that when we return something, then we will refer to the directory. Okay, so if I try to retrieve the data in here, it's a blog web titles, logs, and then publish like author like this schema. And when we try to link it, it will be the same. We just like we call the package because it's not exactly the same. So I will refer to my own source code. So right here, I will doing the same. So you will see the Happy.js is still using for our API server. And this time I call the Mongoose. So I request right here, or if you not running right here, then you can move Mongoose to this part because we are not calling. So it depends on if you are putting together or not. So if you're not in the server side, then you can put a comment. If you want to put it as a separate file, then you already call the Mongoose right here. Okay, so I have two files. And what I'm doing right here is main structure. And let me put it back. Okay, so right here you see I will require the Mongo queries. So the MongoDB, all the queries right here. So you see I have a model and then books and then have a schema. So that's what I mentioned about. If I connect, so it's the Mongo's. And I using the table called on my bookstore is an example. And then that's what I'm using. So you see I'm connected to here, and then I have a collection called books, right? So DB books, and then I can use find function. So here's all the records what I have. And here's an example data. So this one I'm not running on my server side. So I just like sometimes for development, I will have a copy, and then for like testing internally. So I will have a also I have a MongoDB in my local server because I don't want to, especially when we are working on our really production. Maybe in production, our server are hosting the database, but we barely really directly modify the content from our server because once you make any mistake, the whole system crash, is not functioning. So we cannot bear this risk or no responsibility. So we try to like sometimes for development, we're doing testing or make sure the content it works or the function it works properly. Then that's like for testing. So you see right here, I have the title, author, and price. So I would declare like based on the data schema. So you see, and then next, I take out all the functions out. So all of them like at the define the function. So they're all constant and then get a function name. So they are all async. So it's important to using async because it may take some time to retrieve the data. So if we don't use the async, if you're doing like this and execute to run the function, if you didn't wait for return of data, then we will execute to return the value. So you will see always return some empty content or null value because you forgot to add the async to wait for retrieve. If you queries they are correct, and then you should have a data return, then you should wait for it for return. Okay. And also for the implementation, you will see we use a lot like try, catch to throw the value because we need to build up a good structure. And then easy for debugging. So always try to return some error message, or let's say we can something like with the error code. So all this is help us to do debugging. So okay, I can receive successful is like 200. Yes, that means like okay, I can retrieve the data it returned correctly, but I don't have correct data or empty data. Then you know okay, it's maybe the issue of the database, or the database really is empty, maybe. So it can help us to debugging. So right here, let's say when you're doing a project, or in the later we have one more like the last assignment, you also need to have a complete structure like this. Then you need to do like try and then return array, and then we try to here's like called the box. So they can schema the box, and then I will try to find and then search the data. Yes, then I will return it. So return value. And if I need to search by ID, last time if you ask the question why it doesn't work, or it depends on, but you can try to use the mongoose, and I will give you the time, the lag time, and I will upload these two files as a reference. You need to reference modify all those structures, content parameter, but I will upload it and you can look at it. Okay. And right here, I will search it. Let's say I want to find the content like by the ID. So I pass the ID. If I couldn't find it, so it's the book is not found. If I able to get it, then I will return the book that I found. And also I add one more function is that let's say I want to search by title, and then I pass the title if I match it. So I need to get the one. So find one if one. And most important, this one is that I barely talk about how can we do the update. So here's the sample code. How can we update the value if you, because I know no, you did maybe you already tried to build my previous like assignment too. Actually, I'm not really request you to connect to the database, but you just need to have like the post and get function sent to the happy JS API server. But this time for later, you need to build the like complete connection. So once you send the request to here, I want to update the price by the ID. Then I will pass it, and then we check if I didn't have the ID or didn't have the price. And if I have these two data, then I will like match it with it. First, the ID is a match. Then I will set the value. Okay, the price is updated to the new price. Or if you need to like do it like +1, -1, whatever, how you modify the data. Or like you need to add a value, then how can you do that? And here's the query. So all the query right here that I will expose to it. Here's the modules to expose. So I have 4 functions to handle all these like queries. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I need to use all this, then I will import all these functions in this format, like based on what I need. And if for more details, I may not have enough time, or I will try to cover like more about syntax. Because this one is include about the Node.js, the ES6, like how can we handle with this like import or structure syntax. It's mainly the language, the Node.js ES6. Okay, and try to showing you right here. I will do the assign, so you see I still I have a a message sending out, okay, I will connect to the MongoDB, it works. And then if I able create a server, you will see if a message come out, the service is running on the like localhost 3000. And right here, I declare all the route. If you want auto, actually, you can also make the route also in another file. So you can study about it. How can we like break down all the files in different, so we can even create the route right here and put it into another JS file. And here I'm using the get method and I have a path. So I create a synchronous function right here, request and age. And what I need to do, I just like, because I'm already create the function, like get all the books, right? So refer to the function right here, get books. So once we receive the return, so I will return from here the response, and then the box return it with the code 2000 200. If I catch any error, then I will return the message. Like that was the error message with the code 500. Okay, so that's why if you see most of the time, if you see the website on like error 44 or like start with 4, there is some error on the axis of the web page itself. If you see the 500, or sometimes we say the internal error. So 500 is normal, is the code we're using for, maybe one is for the database, like there's some problem of your database, you couldn't able to retrieve the data, then we will return the error code 500. And I will passing this one, we're getting all the value, and here is I try to pass the parameter. Here's a different structure, if you remember. I'm using one is a dot ID, then you're using the ID. And this one is another format I would like to show you, or you can pass the your variables in this format. Okay, so and then we always using try and then call the function. I pass my ID, and I create one more is I can get it by the title and pass it by the title. And I want to update my the price, so I pass it. Here is the combination. So if you still remember in my previous last week, I talked about what's the parameter and what's the query. So the query, so I will combine. Okay, if I declare this one, so I pass the ID and then price will contain in the query, then I will need to save it like this. Okay, so right now let me start my server. Okay, so right here, showing for testing. So let's say I want to retrieve, I want to make sure my server is working well. Okay, so I can set it. If you see, if I want to check, sometimes like when we want to know if my server working properly, I will recommend one path you may use for good practice. I would recommend you always like declare that's like my personal habit there to test for testing. So I will declare one is like testing, or like I call it testing, and then when I receive it, so I will return the status code. You can put any like any message. It is working, let's say like this. Then you will see, okay, maybe sometimes when you running your server, you don't know, am I put the path wrong, or like when I let's say the server down, because sometimes you are not the one working on the API, or you're the guy working on the website. So you need to pass this object. So you sometimes you will giving a path is doing nothing but for testing. So if I put in test and then it return a value, okay, it's working like this. Then I know, okay, so the server is working. I didn't bring that. Sometimes because when you pass the value incorrect or like make some crash, you make the API server down. Okay. If for a small company or like you are the same team working for everything, yes, you can restart your service. But if you are working for big company, sometimes when you crash it and you make the API server down, then what is going to happen? Then for internal, like for the API server, you can test for this way. Okay, so I would recommend you like always have setting a path, like maybe by default, like without anything, you say it works, it's still okay, or like you can add a special one like testing for testing your server. And then let's say I right now I'm able to get the code, and then I would like to maybe get the first one, get book ID, pass the ID. So you see I return the value correctly. So that means that, okay, the API connect is okay. And maybe I need to get the book title. Always like when you try to create the names, everything should be meaningful. And let's say I copy this one. Okay, so you see it return the value. Okay, and let's say I want to update the price. So I need to update the price using, so we update the book price. So I will pass the ID. So do you remember how can we, this is a question, do you remember how can we pass the value? Like, because I handle, the ID is passing as the parameter. For the price, we will passing as a query. So do you know how can we pass it as a, how can we take this one as a query? I want to get a new price. Don't know how to do that? Anybody know? Don't know how to? So right here, if you remember, we put a question mark, and depends on if I want to pass the price, is price and equals to, let's say, originally is a 6.99, then maybe I change it to 10.23 like this, and hit enter. So it return the value. Okay, acknowledge to modify one, update. I'm sure the ID, and then okay. So why not update the value to 10.23? If I want to see if this value is correct, then I will get the ID, and then I will try to get the book ID again. Saying, okay, so you see the price update to 10.23. So if you want to validate, I will make it show you after this. So here's all the structures we are using and to test it and pass it. I would like to, if you want to try how to use it, I will upload it to the server, and you can see how can we break down the files into like the whole, like one file to different file, and then import it and execute. So right here, let me create a new one. And then I will use the online bookstore, db.books. That's what I'm using. So you can find your own and find it right here. So you see after I update the value, it changed to 10.23. So it will match right here. That's what I update. Okay. So you see the whole connection, the API right now is like working totally fine. And I do everything like running local. So if you need to like okay, you test all the functions, everything works well, they are fine, then you can excuse me. So you can using the Git, let's say if you're using GitHub, then you can Git the files you're using like server and Mongo queries, and then get it, and then you can clone it from the server and then upload and replace the original one. And sometimes you modify the database structures and modify the content, and then you need to modify all these things and update, and then when maybe you need to have a maintenance time, maybe at the midnight, and then update your data, and then restart your server and test it. Remember, keep in mind, in production we have to test. Later I telling you try to create a page to test all those like post listing. So I know you already make it, but if you're not yet, then try to create the page. And here's the last later we will have a assignment, new assignment, which are about the IAM. So it's not really the third assignment is related to the security, the file permission. You can work on it. So it will be same around you have 20 questions like do about the file permission and the numeric and symbolic permission I upload. And then for the project, you need to I will give you the time. So I will break down as a different phase. So phase one, you need to tell me the topic, and then you need to show me the structure. At least like the structure, you need to show me what the files or like for your API server, maybe you need to tell me at least, maybe if you have a user account, then you need to have like what are the functions like get, update, and then maybe you need to delete, let's say like this. And then if doing, let's say I'm using my bookstore, then I will have a route. So you need to put the documents. You don't have to really implement, but you need to put the documentation about what are the path route, and then what are the return value what in the data type. So that's what you need to do for your phase one as a project. Then you need to submit. So probably will be the by the end of the this month. So I will after this one I will I'll put the assignment and then project. So you need to submit these two. So you need to do these two in this month. Okay. And I will start my screen and upload my source code. If you have any question, you feel free to ask me. And I will upload all these documents to the D2L. And you can try to download and modify and test with your own server. Okay. So if you have any question like stuck, and then you can share your screen to me. So I will help you to fix it. So right now I will upload my teaching material to the D2L so you can look at it. Okay. So I already upload the PDF file and then the server and then the query file. So you can look at it and you can work on it. If you have no other question, then you may leave, and that's all for today's class. If you have any question, you feel free to ask me so I can help you to fix any question about you maybe assignment or like if you're working or testing anything, I can help you. If no, then that's it for today's class.
All right. Sounds good, Professor.
Okay,
Have a good
then
one.
okay, then have a good one. Bye.